So to start with, 306,000 people went missing in the financial year of 2012-2013. That equates to 838 per day, and so every 2 minutes in that year someone was been reported as missing to the police. In Suffolk alone, that was 2,879 people in that year. Just in our county went missing or reported as missing. 70% of those people were found within 48 hours, but that's still 20% remained missing for a week or more. That equates to 6,120 people. So just, yeah, before I go into that, what am I going to do? I'm going to create an Android app. I've always had an interest in geolocation and mapping, and so I wanted to create an app that incorporated that somehow. So I'll create an app that people can use to. So it's a personal safety sort of app, so they can set this, they can set a sensor. When they think they're going to be in a vulnerable, before they go out and they think they're going to be in a potentially vulnerable situation, they can set it, go out, and obviously if the scenario occurs where they could potentially be in trouble, they can set the alarm off, set the alert off, and it will notify their contacts. Okay, so the core features, there were a whole bunch of features to start with, but I think I've got it down to just a handful. So the main ones, the core features are a server profile, so everyone will register for the application service. That user needs to have contacts, so it'll be the people, the handful of people that they trust, and that will also have the app, and they can trust that if they get a notification, they'll do something about it. Settings, you need to set, a couple of settings, you need to set the sensitivity, so that if you're an active person, you're not gonna, and you protect. One scenario is if you're going to go on a run in the evening, for example, it's still a vulnerable situation, but it's also an active situation, so you need to be able to adjust the sensitivity so that you're not going to set it off, basically. And obviously to activate and deactivate the sensor, so that you're only going to activate it. You're going to have the app installed, but you only want to activate it when you want to use it. You don't want to be active all the time just because it's installed on your phone. Okay, so kind of storyboard-ish, more design basically, but pretty basic login screen. It's easy, probably quite easy to read. You know exactly what it does. Very simple. You'll add contacts, and you'll have a contacts list, and you'll be able to see, and you'll actually get a notification as well of those contacts that you have on the app. You'll be able to see whether they're active. So it's not necessarily that they've activated the alert, but also you'll be able to see, and you'll have it in your mind, oh, that person went out, they went out that evening. So you just got it in the back of your mind, maybe just check, and you'll have the incentive to actually check your phone more as well. And obviously the rest of them inactive contacts. And obviously just simply, you can add and remove them as simply by touching the bin icon. Obviously, I know quite simple UI, just push the button to activate it, literally just before you go out, put it in your pocket. Shake it to activate. Okay, and when you do shake it and activate it, your contacts will get. So actually, when you activate it before you go out, your friends your handful of friends that need to know this stuff will get a notification saying that, to start with, you actually activated, you are going out that evening, and that they'll have it in the back of their mind that you are going out. And obviously the important one is that when you activate it, it will send them an urgent notification. It will vibrate their phone, and potentially, I haven't actually worked this in yet, but it will alert, it will send a sound as if you're being called, basically. But I haven't got as far as on the sound line. Okay, so technologies. I've got a fair bit of experience with Java programming. Also, I'm doing an internship with a company that's I'd used Java Enterprise technology, so I wanted to tie in somehow with what I'm learning at the moment at work and what I already know. It's very important that this is something that I want to get finished and do it well. And why Android specifically? It's because the Android's native functionality. I can use the GPS to pinpoint the location of the person more precisely, rather than just using the phone signal, which or the IP addressing, which will only route them to the nearest exchange. And obviously notifications. It's a brilliant way of. And I know HTML5 at the moment is starting to. It has got a notification API, but it's not as instant as the native notifications on Android. Cost to implement. Android is free. All the relevant technologies are free. It's cheap to publish. Yeah. Okay. Obviously, I have got a previous knowledge of MySQL. Data is going to be very structured. So the only data it's not user content generation. It's not. The app knows what data to expect. The only time that user will be able to input data is on their profile page with specific fields. So this is contrasting to technologies such as not only SQL technologies like Hadoop, which is used for mostly user content generated stuff, where it's multimedia. It's more than just text and text data. Okay, I'm going to be using the JAX RS RESTful framework for the server. For the server API, I'm going to have to develop that will serve the Android application. Again, it's open source. It's very lightweight. I've chosen this. I've chosen JAX RS over Spring because Spring there are a lot of dependencies of Spring. To use Spring MVC, which is what I'd require, it has three core dependencies and actually one external dependency, whereas this is just a single API that you can just drop into the app and use its methods. So free to use. It's Java, integrates well with Java language again, and also the more recent version allows annotations. So just annotate your methods, and it takes care of a lot of the detailed programming underneath. So it's a very clean program or way to program. Technologies, I'll be using Android Studio to develop the Android app. This is as opposed to using the I think it's ADT plugin for Eclipse, because I've used that before and it's not very good. For starters, it's not very good for designing the UI. It's very sluggish and a bit buggy as well. Whereas now we've got the dedicated Android app Studio is a lot faster. It's a lot more support, and actually you don't have to configure the XML quite so much. And I'll be using Eclipse for the server software. I've got a lot of experience with Eclipse. I use it at work a lot, and it has brilliant version control integration. Okay. So I'll be using Agile. Agile is a cyclical, iterative methodology. It allows me to add or remove features quickly. Faster development overall, which is important because research has shown that 80% of today's technology market leaders were first in their field to get to market. So it's very important to develop quickly, get your core features, get it out, and then iteratively add to your software afterwards, based on customer feedback, for example. And obviously testing is integrated as part of Agile, so it improves robustness and it prevents regressions in your software. Okay. Any questions?